You're live.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. This is the Zoning Board of Appeals, July 1st, 2024 meeting, called to order at 7:03. And the roll call is, hello, I'm Suzanne Ryan, Chair, Audrey Klein, Vice Chair, Sarah Silt, Clerk. Kate, I imagine, will be coming. Sometimes she's late. And we're all voting members. Alternates are, I don't see Sabette here, and I see Chuck Sumner. Oh, I'm sorry, Jody
Jody's
Persons,
not an alternate.
voting member.
Yeah.
Oh, there they are.
Bingo.
Okay, so Sabette is an alternate, she just arrived, and Kate is a voting member, she just arrived. And staff is here, Tavis Austin, Director of Planning. The first order of business is going to be a quick review of the minutes of 6/20/24. It was a work session for the rules of procedure. Are there any corrections?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Number 2, meeting 2 shall be elected by a majority vote of the board annually as soon as practical for all officer positions. It says possible. We voted on practical.
I have one.
Still have more.
Oh, I did.
The 1, 2, 3, 4. The 6th bullet down, variances, section 3 shall change shall to may. That should say vacancies, section 3. There's no variance, section 3. And I don't really understand changing the numbers around. I didn't follow that, but I think that's it for me.
Okay, Sarah?
Those were the two that I had, and then if you go down towards the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dots up from the bottom, it says applications number 1. And it said initiated by, and actually that word was dropped out of the version that Sabette typed up, and I think
somebody took your set.
it was correct to drop it. I mean, you know, we were back and forth about several things, so I think it was hard for the secretary to determine sometimes what our final decision was.
And I think we're still working on that. I have some additions to that for our next work session, so I don't think that language is final in any case.
Okay.
And then the last one I had was the very last dot. I think that should read May 2019 version, because we've got a couple versions out there, to be clear what was getting the waiver section.
I don't see a May 2019, which
I
dot?
think it should be added, Audrey.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Are you saying add it to like the color-coded?
No,
Just-
add it to the minutes, dear.
Just a minute.
On the minutes.
Oh, okay, sorry. I'm on back to the document.
Well, I must say that given Sierra's ability to even
Follow what we were saying.
decipher what we were working on, it was very good. So,
Yeah, I agree.
I've got will I have a motion to accept the minutes as amended?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
I'll
Second.
second that.
Sarah, second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, the minutes of June 20th, 24 have been accepted as corrected. Okay, so the main purpose of tonight's meeting is we have before us a request for reconsideration of the May 20th, 24 decision.
I'm going
Oh,
to
sorry.
excuse myself.
Yep, I'm sorry.
That's okay. You had to say what it was before I could excuse
Yeah.
myself.
Okay. Audrey is stepping down, And so I will appoint Sabette in the place of Audrey, since you were on that case originally. As I started to say, this is a request for a reconsideration of the May 20th, 24 decision from Diane Bainton, who was in a butter pertaining to case number 08 AAD 2471 North Main Street by Christopher Rapakanowski. Case number 08 AAD 24 map 21711 regarding issuance of a building permit number 2023-000-993. The board voted 4-1 not to take jurisdiction and not hear the administrative appeal. There will be no public comment taken. This is a meeting by the board to determine only one thing and discuss, and we will discuss it amongst ourselves. Was the decision of May 20th unlawful, unreasonable? I think that's the two substantial criteria that we would go by. And I will open that for discussion. Let's just take it, the first one. Did anything we do, was that unlawful? Did we violate the law by not taking jurisdiction on the appeal that was filed after the 30 days and dismiss the case? Did we use the correct standards, procedure, given that our rules of procedure have no waiver? Anybody want to talk about that? Go ahead, Sarah.
Okay.
Speak up good and loud for me, please.
Yes. As I probably said at our last meeting when we were making the decision, it's clear that we don't have jurisdiction because there is no waiver provision in the rules of procedure that is the last set of rules of procedure that we have on file. And I still say that that was very unfortunate, because if we had that waiver, I think we would have had jurisdiction. But unfortunately, I think it's clear that because we don't have that waiver, we do not have jurisdiction.
Anybody else?
We're talking about the reasonableness?
No, legal. Okay. All right, then the second portion of this would be, the law says we can reconsider if to correct any of our mistakes as well as any mistakes that an applicant may point out. So it's unlawful or unreasonable. It's not and, it's or. So unreasonable, facts given to the board. Keep in mind that the New Hampshire courts have taken the position that if we don't have a waiver provision in our rules of procedure, then we can't legally make a waiver. And that's the New Hampshire Supreme Court. What we did at the 20th was basically we dismissed the case because we did not have jurisdiction. The only reason we should possibly reconsider that dismissal is if there is some reason we find tonight that we do have jurisdiction. So we're only focusing on jurisdiction. Anybody want to
Yes,
take a bite at that?
Yes.
Okay, speak up loudly into your
I
microphone.
will. Okay. It seems to me, waiver or no waiver, the reasonable thing to do is count the 30 days appeal from the date of the posting of the building permit. So unless there's evidence to show that the posting was done more than 30 days before Ms. Bainton's appeal, then I think it's reasonable for us to look at the case.
Well, I'll repeat again. In this situation, we dismissed the case because we did not have jurisdiction over the case. And the only reason we should reconsider that decision of dismissal is if there's some reason that the board as a whole does not have jurisdiction after all. And the issue is that the New Hampshire Supreme Court has already said that regardless of whether it is a fair or reasonable action, the only way the ZBA can waive its appeal period for a situation like this is their rules of procedure include a waiver provision, period. So, go ahead, Jody.
Yeah, I feel like if there was a legal way for us to hear this and accept jurisdiction, I think we would have. And I still haven't seen anything, nothing's really changed from the first dismissal. And unfortunately, I think this one is what it is. So I just wanted to say that.
I think this is a perfect situation for why you do need to have a waiver. And if we'd had one, we certainly would have taken jurisdiction. But unfortunately, we did not have one.
But if abutters don't have access to a decision, the appeal process is meaningless. They have to have access to the decision, which is accomplished by posting. If there's no posting, there's no access.
Well, and as Mrs., is it Bainton stated, she said, it's the posting of the permit that's untimely, not the appeal, to Kate's point. Mm-hmm. And she did submit a lot more information, really bringing to question, was this permit ever posted? And I don't think it's reasonable to expect people to go into the town clerk's office or the planning office on a regular basis to be scouting for, is there a permit floating around out there? And she did submit more evidence that kind of brings to mind this was never posted or not posted in a timely way. So that is a little different than before in terms of having more documentation about that.
The building permit says that this permit must be posted in a visible location and the street number must be exhibited for emergency purposes. Where is the visible location and when was it visible? And if this isn't valid, then everything that follows from that is questionable.
Close to your mic, please, Kate. Kate, can you just say what you said, the last few words? You weren't close enough to the mic to hear it.
Pardon me?
I could not hear the last few words of what you just said because you weren't close enough to your mic.
Oh, sorry about that. I said that if the permit wasn't posted in a visible location, then the purpose of the building permit is defeated. In other words, the neighbors have no access, the abutters have no access to the information.
She also brings up something that I guess a higher court would look at. I mean, they could overturn our decision, but she says they also, that this also underscores a major loophole in the appeal process which unlawfully favors the party to whom a permit has been granted to the detriment of any affected property owners. So even though I do agree that our rules of procedure, unfortunately and mistakenly, do not grant the waiver. But in this case, she's gave us a lot of supporting information to think about it's maybe even bigger than our rules of procedure and appeal process, that there's a loophole in the overall appeal process, which could be decided by a higher court.
I think that could possibly be true. I think if we had a waiver process in place in our rules of procedure, I think we would have utilized it. I think there is good supporting evidence, but unfortunately our hands are tied. I think she clearly outlined a condition where she could not reasonably have known about it ahead of time, within that 30-day period. But legally, our hands are tied. The question is, did we have jurisdiction? The answer is still, unfortunately, no. We're in the process of taking care of that by putting in the waiver process, but it will not be soon enough to help her particular case.
But our jurisdiction is based on when the building permit was issued, correct? Does it
Our
state
jurisdiction is based on what our rules of procedure say.
which is,
We don't have a waiver position in there right now.
I would ask the question of the board, can any of you articulate a reason that the board does have jurisdiction?
I can't come to that conclusion that we would have jurisdiction. And I'm probably repeating myself, I said this at the other meeting, but unfortunately, when the building permit is issued, it doesn't say this must be posted in 3 days or 2 days. It says, well, I believe it's when the work's being done, it needs to be posted. So in this situation, unfortunately, they've waited the 30 days. The 30 days was up. They put the fence up. They put up the permits. I cannot swear to that I saw it, but that's what we're being told. So unfortunately, this is a situation where I can't see where that's been broken, that there's been any unjust with the building permit itself to bring on.
I know where you're going. You can't, retrospectively, you can't address that.
but this is this the 20, I'm confused. Is this the 2019?
That's the one we're working on.
This is the one we're
Working
working
from.
on?
Working from.
No,
This is the one we're working from, correct?
that's from
No,
2019.
we're working on that. We're going to work on it tonight.
Because it still says May 20th, 2019 on here.
Set that aside.
I missed that part. Okay. That's the part that's missing. Gotcha. Yeah. Because I was like, wait a minute, where did that come from?
Yeah, no,
I know.
that will be after. Kate, I hear you loud and clear. I think it's unfortunate the way this is played out. There is relief still for the applicant. They can go to court or appeal to the courts or go to the housing board to appeal. We've had advice from council about this waiver provision and the lack of it, and the New Hampshire courts of how they've read it, and I just can't see going against that advice, and we're kind of obligated. We took an oath to uphold the laws of the town, and that, unfortunate as it is, that's the way it's written, and that's what we have to deal with. So, does anybody want to make, have we had enough discussion on this?
Well, I think our responsibility, of course, is to consider the rights of the individual property owner and the public interest, those two things. And it's usually possible to, resolve those. I think that the failure to post the permit deprives the abutter of any due process. Deprives not only the abutter, but the, the public. So,
I sort of agree with Kate in that we need to be cognizant of the rights of all the people in the town, people making applications, people that are abutters, but we still have to do it within the confines of the laws and regulations. And we have been advised by our attorney that without that waiver, in our rules of procedure, we are unable to take jurisdiction, end of report. And that's what I'm going to go with.
We've also been told by our attorney, though, that we don't always have to follow her advice.
That's true, but in this particular case, I think she's right on.
There have been times that I have not followed town attorney's advice, but I think that this is pretty clear. You're not obliged to have to follow it. You can follow your own thought process and how you decipher the lack of a waiver provision, and the New Hampshire courts have decided that without that, we cannot arbitrarily waive.
As much as we might think it would be appropriate.
I'm still just rereading.
Okay,
Exactly
well,
what it says.
I'd entertain a motion to deny the request that was submitted by Diane Bainton, submitted January 6, 2024, because we don't have jurisdiction. And,
No, she,
what, no, when it was submitted,
oh, the original one.
when it was
Okay.
submitted, received. Now, my train of thought.
But this rehearing wasn't submitted
Wait
in
a
January.
minute. The motion was to deny the request for
hearing.
a rehearing, and the request for reconsideration, I'd rather use that word.
And that was the one that was received June 6th?
Wait, Sarah, please, I'm trying to make a motion, and you're
Okay.
interrupting me.
I think you have the wrong date, is all.
I'm going to start again so Tavis can get it. I would entertain a motion to deny the request for reconsideration of our decision of May 20th, 24, submitted by Diane Bainton, relevant to 71 North Main Street, as submitted and received by the town on June 6th, 2024,
I'll second
because
that.
we do not have jurisdiction. Okay?
Yep, I said I'd second that.
Okay, roll call vote. Start over here.
So what's a yes and what's a no? Motion? No, I don't favor
To
the motion.
deny,
I oppose that.
so you're a no.
I'm a no.
Can you say that in your mic, please, Kate?
Microphone.
Microphone with a roll call vote. Your microphone, Kate.
All right, sorry. I vote no.
Okay. Suzanne, yes.
Sarah, yes.
Jody, yes.
Sabette, no.
Okay, so the motion passes 3-2. Motion carries. The applicant has every right to go to court within 30 days or submit to the New Hampshire Housing Board. Also, I would like to make a motion that any legal advice that we've received remain confidential. Get a second for that?
Yes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay, that concludes what's on our agenda regarding the requests for reconsideration. Okay, so now
You want to switch seats?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Audrey's going to rejoin us, so Sabette, you're off the hook.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
However, I will appreciate
I would have left you, but
some in-depth discussion from you on these rules of procedure. In fact, I'm very glad that you took the
actually,
lead on this.
we wouldn't have to have
And we're
switch.
making some progress. But what we're going to go to right now, though, on the rules of procedure will be the first reading of the, what we voted on to bring forward, which is 2 amendments to the 2019 Rules of Procedure. On the last page, page 5, in bold type, you will see the 2 amendments. And I would ask, Sabette, would you read the first one, number 1?
I'm not sitting. Do you want me to?
She's got a right to participate. I'm
Yeah,
not
okay.
asking her to vote.
Number 1.
Will you please read number 1 on page 5?
Yes. Appeals from an administrative decision taken under RSA 676-5 shall be filed within 30 days of the decision, or when such decision becomes known or reasonably could have been known by the petitioner as determined by the board for good cause, and in parentheses, RSA 676:5, RSA 674:33.
Thank you. And Sarah, how about, would you read number 12 on page 5, waivers?
Yes. Number 12, waivers. Any portion of these rules of procedure may be waived with the affirmative vote of at least 3 members in such cases where, in the opinion of the board, strict conformity would pose a practical difficulty to the applicant, and a waiver would not be contrary to the spirit and intent of the rules.
Thank you. I'll make a minor typographical type of correction here. I'd like to put an asterisk by number 1 and an asterisk on where the waiver is, and then down where it says amended 2024 to put that asterisk in front of where it says amended. Yeah. So that someone picking up the document will know what in fact was amended, because I doubt that it will be in bold type. Okay, so that concludes the first reading. Unless anyone has any objection to that, I'd like to move it forward to our next meeting to do the second reading, at which time we will adopt it unless there's any outstanding issues with it. Sarah?
Will this be at our next meeting, the beginning of August, or will this be at...
Well, we're going to have to set some dates.
Okay.
If we have we'll come to that.
Okay.
So everyone's okay with it as typed in bold? We're ready to go to the second reading?
yes.
Okay, so, go ahead.
Are we just, as it's worded, or the substance of it? Because
As it's worded and the substance.
yeah, I sort of, on the last one here, I'm starting to have second thoughts about the way that's, the substance of it. I'm just worried that there's not enough constraints on when that can be used. It's sort of like
Well,
I don't know, I'm a little confused.
It's not contrary to the spirit of the intent of the rules.
I had that same thought back when, a long time ago, when reading through this 2 years ago when we were talking about it.
Yeah.
But the fact is, it does take 3 votes out of 5, so hopefully that will...
I'm trying to,
Could
I'm
you
just,
give us an example?
well, I'm just, I don't know.
Or say more about
Like, why
it?
have
I
rules
guess-
if you can waive
I guess
them
it,
all?
There is provision. It says, in the opinion of the board, strict conformity, like what we had tonight, strict conformity,
I understand
would
that,
pose
yeah.
a difficulty to the applicant. So what we're trying to say is, this is something that should be used very rarely. It should not be used.
Yeah, that's all I guess I'm worried about is, I mean,
And
I feel like we should have something for both parties, both ways, the applicant or the.
well, you
but
know,
it's-
we didn't make this up. This came from.
No, I know.
It came from the New Hampshire guidelines,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah, it's a good resource.
Yeah,
Look, we can always change it if we find we're running into difficulty with it, but we really need to get something in the books. Sarah?
well, I understand that. I just wanted to voice my, I guess,
I,
I'm having an inner,
yeah,
I'm
no,
having a,
yeah.
I'm just
know what
having an
you're
issue
saying,
with it, that's all.
But
I mean, it's
think,
not,
you know, the applicant might not be the abutter if
Exactly,
something
that's what I
was-
mean, yeah.
If something was decided in favor of the abutter, that still gives the person that was doing the work an option. Both parties, either one of them can come back and ask for a rehearing. So both sides have an equal chance to ask for consideration using a waiver. And then I think the balancing point, in addition to that, is it's not supposed to be contrary to the spirit and the intent of the rules, and that would include local laws, state laws. So I think it's got a pretty high threshold.
yeah,
But
I just
see
wanted to
one of-
voice that
Yeah,
it just,
one at a time.
One of the things that recognizes, as we're changing the rules of procedure, and we're adding a lot of detail that's not in this one, for instance, you know, the level of site plan that is required that is going to be required in the new rules, we may want to waive that on occasion. And we're not waiving like a large part of the rules, we're waiving small individual technical details that maybe don't make sense for a case, hopefully.
I guess, but I mean, the way it's worded now, it just seems
But
like.
what would you change, Jody? I guess what we
I
need is an
can't,
alternative.
yeah, I can't say that right now. Maybe let's just wait till we have the second reading or whatever. We're gonna do another reading on it and at the next meeting.
Like I said, I had the same feeling. Why
No,
have
it's just
rules
like-
if you can just waive any of
I
them? It
don't,
doesn't,
you
seems
know.
contradictory to sense.
And it
but-
really, I can't think of any way to word it where
Wait,
it can put more constraints on it. Not that it needs it, but
Well, we
I
could
just
say
don't want to
4
see it.
members. We could say 4 members of the
But then we'll
board.
have to have another reading because we're making a
Yeah, let's
substantial
just,
change.
let's go to we'll go to the
Okay.
next reading.
Well, and we
we'll go
don't
from
all
there.
have
It's
to
just-
agree, correct?
Well,
A
it takes
majority
3,
has to
but
agree.
later on, if we feel like we want to raise the standard, we could change that to 4.
We're not locked into this 2019. We're redoing the whole thing, and hopefully by September, we'll be done with a whole new rules of procedure. And at that time, if you can come up with something that you'd like better for the waiver, we can do that. But let's get this underway. And I
Yeah,
saw
that's fine.
Tavis had his hand up. Do you still want to comment, or are you
May I
all
say one
set?
thing?
The only thing that strikes me is it appears with the change to number 1, there's already a waiver to the 30 days built in, but it doesn't have the same number of vote requirements as the waiver. So my question is, was the intent to, I mean, for consistency, would it also be an affirmative vote of at least 3 members?
That's already the case.
No, on number 1, it's not.
Well,
Within-
it
within
is
30
because
it
it takes 3 members to pass anything.
I know, well, that's why I'm wondering why the 3 votes is down in the waivers, because anything you do requires 3 votes. So, I mean, I'm only mentioning this to Jody's point, maybe the 4 votes is worth it, because
I think we should consider that for when we rewrite the whole thing and move ahead with the approval with this.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah,
I would,
just
I would make,
Let's not get hung up.
No, I didn't want
Let's
to
not
get,
get hung up.
I
May I say
didn't want to
one
make a mess. I just wanted to.
may I
Well,
say
we're-
I
one-
kinda like
may I
that
say
4
one
thing.
thing to Jody? Jody, one thing you might want to do that might help you articulate it better is read through some other towns read through a number of other towns, their rules of procedure, see how it's worded there, and you might be able to pinpoint something that's more comfortable to you. Again, this comes from the New Hampshire overall rules of procedure, but I've found that reading other towns helps me see things differently sometimes, and that
Yeah,
may
I'm
help you
just,
articulate it.
yeah, I'm looking at a legal point to it too. I mean, it's,
This has already been to council, and she's
No.
okay with it.
yeah, I remember, yeah.
Okay? So what I would just let you know is that when this was brought up a few years ago, many, many years ago, I fought the waiver, feeling just the way you feel. But given what has happened, it's paramount that we get this in here and get it done.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm going to
understand
call
that.
for a vote of the board. Are you okay with it that we have a second reading?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Yes.
Sarah, yes. Me, yes. Sabette?
Do I get to
Oh, you
vote?
can't vote. Okay,
Jody
Jody?
does.
I'll say yes, and we're going to do a second reading.
Okay.
I'll just say yes for now.
Okay, so second reading. Now, we have, in July, we've been typically using Thursdays. We have the 12th, the 18th, and the 25th are Thursdays in July.
It's typically the third Thursday, which is already on my schedule. But
Wait, I might not be here then.
Just
Let me-
checking to see what anyone can do. We always have difficulty.
Well, I would hope that everybody has the third Thursday already on their schedule, because we did
That
vote to
doesn't
put
mean,
that.
it doesn't mean it can't be changed if it would
That's
accommodate
true.
the majority of the board.
Does it have to be posted?
No, it's a work session. Well, posted,
Yes.
but not a
Anytime
public
we get together,
hearing.
we have to post.
I'm not here the 18th. You're welcome to go ahead without me.
The
But you do have-
25th?
I'm here the 25th. I'm sorry, I'm just out of town the whole
25th?
week.
Okay. The 25th at 6?
I'm not here. I mean, I don't need to be, I'm just letting you know, I will not be there.
Well, you see the going back and forth, we don't get a whole lot accomplished.
No, I'm just,
Okay,
I mean, you don't have to be here.
I don't know.
I'll make
For
sure
that.
somebody puts out the tape recorder for you, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
checked on the 18th, and I can make the 18th. I have no idea about the 25th because I didn't know we were changing it.
okay, well, the majority can do the 25th, and we hope you can be here.
I could also do the 11th. I mean, I could also do the 11th.
We don't have time for notice for the 11th, do we?
Oh,
There's no notice.
You have- you
It's
have
not a hearing,
to- You just have to post the meeting.
24 hours in advance.
Okay.
Oh, for work.
Isn't it 5 days? No, it's 24 hours, you're right, yeah, never mind.
I mean, I'm here the 11th.
Public hearing for
or the 25th.
ZBA is 5 days.
Right, and we have to do
ten
more
for-
because we have to advertise it, yeah.
The only food for thought, the only question is, do you want to change your rules of procedure at a work session as opposed to when the public are expecting to see you on TV? I don't think it matters. Procedurally, you could do it this Thursday if you want. I'm just,
Yeah.
something to think about.
4th of July, I don't think so.
All right,
Okay,
folks.
this Thursday was a bad choice, but you get the idea.
So the plan is to come up with a date to do the second reading of this and adopt it with a vote, and then move on to where we left off, where Sabette left us off, for up in 2 hours, 6 to 8. So what did everyone decide on the meeting date?
Chuck, are you around? You didn't say.
Yes.
You're around?
I'm flexible. I can do the 11th, the 18th, or the 25th, so.
Okay.
What do you got
Any day.
for dates, Audrey?
I'm okay, I think we should leave it at the 25th, just because I think we should be consistent, but I'm fine
mean the
with
18th?
any of those.
No,
Yeah, the
actually, to
18th,
be
the 18th.
consistent with the third Thursday, it would be the 18th.
That's what I meant. I think we should leave it consistent, so Bet can't be in
Okay,
here
so let's do it at the 25th, and I believe 6 o'clock.
Yep.
6 o'clock.
generally.
6 o'clock
I'll teach you.
in the annex, the little room down in the
I
annex.
can't even check that at the moment, so.
Is that okay?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'll let you know tomorrow if it's not.
So if the
Okay.
annex wasn't available, we could do it up here, perhaps.
Yeah, you just have to realize I'm not here that week, so there's no one to set up the room or do any of that
Okay,
stuff,
well,
so.
I get a key and I'll get us in. I'll get a key.
I have
Sarah
a key.
has a key.
Up here is different.
Is the
We'll meet
library
in the
open on
annex.
Thursday nights?
Let's make this simple. We'll meet in the
No.
annex. Sarah has a key, 6 o'clock, the 25th.
What I'm trying to get apart is, or get out, is you guys picked the third Thursday, so I cleared that room all the way through. Now you're changing, I will have to check, and if that changes, I will let you know.
Typically, we'll shoot for the third Thursday, but if the majority can't do it, then we'll have to switch dates. So everybody mark your calendar for the third Thursday, the rest of the year, for work session, and hopefully we won't have to go through to the rest of the year. Okay, what else? did we-
Except for this month, when you want to do it on the 25th.
Except for this one, what?
You
want to
just
do it
asked
on
us
the
to do it on the
25th.
25th, which is not the third Thursday.
It isn't?
Is the 4th?
No, the 18th is the third Thursday.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have a calendar in front of me.
18th is the third Thursday.
18th.
Okay.
We have the room. Sabette
Okay.
can't be here. She's not going to be a voting member unless people
Oh, I
don't show
gotta have
up.
Sabette here, because she's leading this.
That's true.
Sabette,
We're not getting out of
we're
it that
sticking with
easy.
the 25th.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good reason. I'll go for that.
All right,
I don't mind changing it if there's a good reason. Sabette's a good reason.
okay.
Thank you.
It's a waiver provision.
That's a way,
All right, so I'm not going to try and have a work session on the rules. I just want to get some clarification. Do we understand where we are with what Sabette sent us for the colored copies? And she wrote, this is where we've ended on
yes, the
June.
plain copy is really quite good to read. And then if there's any questions, you can go back to the colored copy to see where that change came from. But I think it was
And then
all pretty much good.
And then Audrey had a couple tiny typos. So basically, we're not going to go back to that until we get the final, and then if there's something major, we can make a change. But I like to just keep going forward from where we left off when Sabette said, this is where we are.
So we'll start with public notice, number 8. You know, one thing I would recommend, I think Sarah's notes were really helpful in that meeting, and you had different notes than some of us did.
Right.
And if there's
I
any
had
way,
March 24th.
if there's any way we can get a copy of your notes in advance, that might help us move along more quickly, too.
My notes are scribbled pencil things on
She gave them to us.
a copy that we
March
had.
25th. I mean, I might have notes somewhere. I'm just thinking that might help us.
So, did we?
And Audrey, you didn't have a clean copy that we were working for. You were
I
working
had
from a different
the
copy.
copy before, and I never got, in my email, I never got the update that Sarah was reading from, so when I did it, I was behind
Well,
one.
Mine are pencil notes that I
You
have,
gave me that, I don't know, did everybody get this?
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Mine were pencil notes that I made that are scribbled and unintelligible to
True.
almost myself, so.
Okay.
I agree with that.
I don't think,
Well, everybody now has, because Tavis just
Yes.
made copies of the
Yes.
color-coded version.
yes.
And Audrey, I think this is what we're going to be working from next time. So we'd all be working from what you got tonight, the color-copied version,
Yeah.
where half of it has
Yes.
been revised, and then we'll start with,
So I just,
Number 8.
did we finish the application section? Because I do have something to discuss next time on the number 1 and the denial
What
document.
number are you?
Applications, that's 12, number 1, 7, number 1. I do have a suggestion for that next time we meet, so I don't-
I know there was one section Sabette said she's going to leave to you, me, and Sarah. Was that it?
No,
well,
that's not
I sent
it.
you guys all of that, kind of,
Okay.
all of that. But, I mean, we could probably talk about that right now. We've got time, if there's that one small
I don't want to
thing.
get into it. Let's
Okay.
Yeah, let's get
So we can just go back and do that
let's
on the
concentrate.
25th.
I just want to know if everybody's following along and
Yep.
we're all in the same place.
I think we did good work up until the point that we
And
got to.
I would suggest that everybody number their pages
Right. There is a way you can make that happen in your computer.
Indeed.
So
There is.
we're going to be using this one, Sabette, is that what I understand?
Yeah.
Yep,
I mean, because this is the updated one with everybody's different color
Okay.
coding.
yep.
This one?
Yeah,
Okay.
my pinky lavender stuff was just little typo things, like a space here, or drop a hyphen. It was not really a contextual change. I thought you did a great job with those.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can I say one thing? Hopefully, when we do this next meeting, we can do it just like the last, where one person took
That's
pretty much
Sabette's-
control.
Sabette's running the show.
She took control, just one
She's-
person, and it went, I thought we got a lot
We had
done.
this discussion before.
No, I know. I just
before the
wanted to-
last meeting.
wanted to say it
She
again.
has a brain that's able to
I
thought it worked great.
organize and focus. So
Yep.
she's running this show.
She
and
does
all
a good
we're
job with
doing
an unruly crowd.
Yep.
is adding
the cats.
information. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Thank you.
Happy July 4th, everybody.
Yes. Come down and see the Quilts of Valor presentations on Sunday by our local quilt group.
Which presentation?
Quilts of Valor, it's presentations to people that have been in the service and seen war.
We sat down.